It is critical to first train the humans who will be doing the milking in proper crowd gate etiquette well before the attempt to train the cows. Failure to do so is a major reason many modernized farms have experienced long-term frustration with cow entry into the parlor and thus reduced parlor throughput. First, realize the term crowd gate is a misnomer. Proper operation of the crowd gate doesn't crowd cows or act as a snowplow to force them forward. It simply reduces the size of the holding pen. A holding pen full of cows can be a difficult mass of bovinity to deal with during this first experience. If you have cow group sizes exceeding 30 to 40 cows, as most farms do, consider placing one half of each group or multiples of parlor capacity in the pen at one time during the first couple of milkings. This accomplishes two things. First, it reduces the distance the crowd gate has to communicate with the cows at the front of the parlor. Consider and observe the wave of cow heads as they first recognize the movement of the crowd gate at the rear of the herd. This reaction is an indication of cows being pushed by the gate and results in animal stress. Next, recognize the length of time it takes for the cows at the front of the herd to recognize that they are being asked to move forward. This process is less than a smooth one with a non-acclimated, naive herd. Second, having fewer cattle in the holding pen for the initial milkings lessens the number of cows milling around the pen while handlers are assisting them into the parlor. When milking time does arrive, the quiet, patient approach is the venue of choice. Once again, plan other important, engaging activities well away from the milking facility for those who do not fit this description. Easy does it is the only battle cry that should be heard during this process. Extra handlers will be required in the holding pen for the first couple of milkings. The bulk of the handler's efforts will be at the front of the pen, working from side to side in assisting cows into the parlor. The crowd gate should be carefully moved forward as needed to keep the herd at the front of the holding pen, with all being watchful of slow, stubborn, or confused cows that may need assistance in moving forward with the gate. When assistance is required at the rear of the herd, be sure to provide it from behind the gate, not in front of it. This trains the cows to move forward with the forward movement of the gate rather than waiting for handlers to walk the length of the pen to escort them to the front. If you will come, they will wait for you. This bad habit cannot be attributed to the cow, but to the human. It is therefore incumbent upon the handlers not to start out by training themselves in this efficiency-killing habit. Two temporary partitioning gates tied to the V divider at the front of the holding pen for use in assisting cows in entering the parlor can be of great help during the first couple of milkings. It is important to realize that all temporary measures employed initially for the cow's learning benefit, including extra handlers and gates, be abandoned as quickly as possible and certainly within 2 to 3 days of entering the new facility. Management of the crowd gate and the holding pen in general during this transitional time is somewhat different than what you need to be moving towards for day-to-day operation. The greatest challenge in learning this process of cow entry into the parlor is not in cow training, but in avoiding the development of bad habits by the milkers. The next is to end all vestiges of extra transitional activities earlier as opposed to later in the process. One of the important concepts to be learned in proper crowd gate operation is the realization that all crowd gates can be operated in 2 directions, forward and backward. During training of a naive herd, and even after the cows are well acclimated to the routine, there will be times when it is prudent to back the gate up rather than running it forward into the herd. The cows really don't know the difference and will enter the parlor regardless of the direction of movement. After moving the gate up to the rear of the herd, experienced operators can literally move the gate forward a few inches, then back a few inches, so at the end of the milking the gate is at the same position in the pen as it was at the beginning. Another tool that can be of value is an adaptation of Pavlov's bell that was used to signal dogs that it was time to eat, thereby creating a conditioned response. A bell mounted on the crowd gate that is run only for a maximum of 2 to 3 seconds and only when the crowd gate is activated creates the same effect in cows. When it is mismanaged, however, it has the opposite effect.